Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, and today we've got something a little different going on. This isn't my usual setup. This very comfy looking, as you can see. I look crusty, musty, and dusty. You're welcome. And the reason for that is because we're doing a reading vlog. So my mom graciously offered to watch Blair for the weekend. And so I thought, I've got 2 days. Because, you know, it's already Friday afternoon. I just finished work. But I have 2 days to just like chill and get some reading done. So why not? You know, why not? So let me tell you what I'm going to be reading. I'm starting The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I'm reading this hybrid, like I have the audio and clearly the physical book. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I'm also I kind of started it a little bit yesterday, but The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. Why do I always like try to remember who the author is? It's right here in my hand and I can just look at it. Why do I do that? But it's The Witching by Alexis Henderson. I have high hopes that I'll get through at least one of them. I'm definitely not going to get through both of them. So The Poppy War is about Rin. She is a war orphan who is trying to escape what would potentially be her fate if she stays in this town that she's living in. She doesn't want to become a young bride and get married to like this person that she doesn't know, doesn't like. And so she tests into this elite military school where they are raising the most, like, and you can only get into this school if you are crazy talented. Somehow she passed the test. She gets into the school. And so I think we're just following her as she starts the school. And, you know, she's a girl and she's from like a poor part of the country. So I'm sure she's going to face some adversity. A lot of adversity. There are other kids who are like super badass, and so I'm sure she's gonna come up against a rival at some point. And that's as much as I know about The Poppy War. And then for Year of the Witching, it's about Emmanuel, and her mom dies in childbirth, and I guess the town where she's growing in is very like 1600s Salem Puritan-esque, and so she's treated as an outcast. Emmanuel is a product of her white mother and her dark-skinned father, and so people were like, you're suspicious. But also there are these witches in the woods. I don't know, maybe they're back for revenge. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? You guys know I never know what books are about when I go into them, so that's what makes it fun. It's like a surprise every time. Those are what we're reading this weekend. First, I'm gonna probably go take Blair out for a walk because he's been a very good boy, and even though it's snowing, to stretch his legs a little bit. So we're gonna do that. So Blair and I are off to, I know, someplace very exciting. We're gonna go pick up my mom from work. I'm excited because that means I have a dog-free weekend. Yep, a dog-free weekend. Great for me, terrible for you guys because I know you're just here for Blair. We literally do not know that woman. You've never seen her before in your life. You're so dramatic. You don't know any of these people. Did not get a ton of reading done last night because, like I thought would happen, I fell asleep in the middle of that book. But today I'm trying to get some reading done. It is early for me in the morning. So before I get into any kind of reading today or to anything that I want to do today, and before I lose any motivation for the day, I'm going to hop on and get a workout in, get a little sweat on, you know, and make some breakfast, do some reading, purge some clothes. Let's do it.
What's going on? I am Hannah Frankston. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, I wouldn't mind.
Okay, so I think we should do a little checkup. I haven't gotten very far in either of these books. I've gotten about 25% into The Way of the Year of the Witching. The beginning is very slow, but something just happened and I'm like, I'm interested now. It seems like a prophecy is about to start fulfilling itself. Let me rewind. Emmanuel, her mother died at childbirth, giving birth to her. And they're in this place where women are just the worst and they're so tempting. And the prophet is this guy, this probably very old man, who just keeps choosing wives and they're all young. And the prophet has like sons, those are apostles. Whenever they get their first sighting, viewing, I forget what it's called, then it'll be time for like the prophet to peace out and, you know, be on his way to the next place. High key hoping this man dies. He hasn't even been in the book very much, but I don't like him. But Emmanuel, she is living with her grandfather and her grandmother and her grandfather's wife and their children. So they're all living here. They're a little poor because her mother was supposed to marry the prophet and then ran off and had a baby with one of like the people from the outskirts of town, and they're darker skinned, which is why Emmanuel is darker skinned, and everyone feels like she is the cursed existence of her mother's sin. When her mother is pregnant, she runs away into the forest called the Darkwood. In the Darkwood is where the first prophet banished these 4 witches. Those 4 witches were apparently trying to bewitch the men of the town and turn the people of the town sinful, and so the first prophet ran them into the woods and they had these wars and the witches were killed, supposedly. So, but it's also like, don't go into the dark woods because no one comes out of the dark woods alive except for Emmanuel's mother, who miraculously came out of the woods alive. This is going to be full of spoilers. This is a big deal. Emmanuel has not gotten her first blood, and that's a huge thing in this community. It shows like your status from being a girl to a woman, and because of this, they're just like, oh, this is the continuation of the mother's curse. At this point, Emmanuel has gone into the dark woods and seen some things, some off the wall type shit, and on this most recent excursion into the dark woods, she gets her first blood. But I think that this triggers something and some shit is about to go down. And I'm curious to see what happens. I'm a little excited. I'm not gonna get my hopes up very high. I'm definitely going to continue on with this because for a split second, I was just like, maybe I need to DNF this and we need to go our separate ways. But now I'm interested, so. Now, the Poppy War. I have been listening to this mostly. I read with my eyes a little bit of it. I don't even think I'm 20% into this, to be honest. I think I'm at like chapter 5. But I'm loving this so far. It's something about like kids at a school that's designed to like turn them into military badasses. It's just fantastic. I like Ren. She's dedicated, she's determined, she's cunning. I like the cast of characters that we've got so far. There's a guy in here, Nisha, and I hope terrible things happen to him. I was gonna say maybe not terrible, but no, I really hope something not great happens to him, because he's a dick too. Because he thinks that because he's from like a military family and he has the background and upbringing that he deserves something, anything, and all the respect. And I just want to be like, sir, you haven't done anything, so calm down, stop. And Rin just keeps handing his ass to him and embarrassing him in front of the whole class. And I just want to be like, my guy, why don't you stop coming for Rin and she won't have to keep embarrassing you like this. So I'm a little bit more interested in the Poppy War than I am the Year of the Witching. I'm gonna do a little bit more reading. I was going to try to reorganize my drawers and purge some of my old clothes, but I'm not. I'm gonna read for a couple of more hours, then get ready to go meet up with a friend, have a little bit of dinner, and come back and read some more. So I will update you guys when I have made more progress in either one of these books. Hi there. How's it going? It's Saturday. I'm kidding. It's not Saturday. It's Sunday. Don't mind me. Don't mind me at all. I read a little bit more of the Poppy War. I read a little bit of this last night as well, and I'm really having a good time with this. I'm almost finished with part 1. I think there's 3 parts in here. Yeah, but I'm almost finished with part 1, and Rin is a little annoying, but I still like her. I still like her as a character because she's just so determined and inquisitive. And I'm really liking that she has Master Jung, who is trying to help her along. As eccentric as he is, and I think he's like a great character. The friendship that she has with Kate, I love. And I'm interested to see like where this is all going. I'm having a good time learning about like what Rin is learning about, how she's developing as a student and a future like possible military leader, a possible shaman. And so I'm interested in that, but I don't know where it's going. So I read a little bit of that. And then I picked back up The Year of the Witching. Again, not much further than I was last time I left you. Ezra, the prophet's son, is now part of this whole shebang. What is the word that I'm thinking of? It's not shebang. I don't know. But Emmanuel is like, I'm going to stop this blood plague. And Ezra's like, I'm here for the shits. And he's along for the ride. And I'm thinking that potentially he is going to have or play a part in ending the plagues that are happening. But yeah, that's where we are. And I'm going to do a little bit of reading. I'm going to go pick up my son from his grandmother's. By son, I mean my dog. And I'm going to go pick him up from his grandmother's, have dinner with my mom. And that's going to be our Sunday. So I will update you guys when I have an update.
Yeah.
don't know why I thought this was a good puzzle for us to do. Why are there so many pieces? Face, it's all washed. I'm all showered up for the night, and Blair here is he's also ready for bed, but I'm not tired. I'm probably going to do a little planning, then I'm gonna get into some reading for the night. I could potentially finish The Year of the Witching. I have about 150 pages left. A little bit of an update. I am a little bit further along in the Poppy War. I listened to it on my way to my mom's, and then while I was there for a little bit. And wow, I don't know why I didn't see like this happening. They're at a military school, so clearly they would be militarying. I love Ren's training with Jung, and I am liking that he's trying to show her like the abstract theory of it, right? And of what she's learning, of lore. Meanwhile, she's like, how can I use this as a weapon? And I don't think that's supposed to be the point, but I like it. Happy Monday. Look at Blair creeping in the background. I finished reading The Year of the Witching. Last night when I went to bed, I was like, you know, this is a 3.5. And as I thought about it a little bit more this morning, as I was getting some work done, I was like, you know what? This is a 3, which is not bad. I think I went in with too high of expectations. I don't know why. I do this a lot. I go in with really high expectations thinking I'm gonna love it, and then it doesn't quite hit the mark. But like I said, 3 stars still is not bad. So let's talk about how we got here. So I think that I was expecting there to be more tense, scary-ish moments, especially because I feel like we put a lot of emphasis on the witches and the dark wood in the beginning, and there wasn't a lot of witches, or well, we did get a lot of talk about the dark wood, but the witches, it's not really a thing. And I feel like every time Emmanuel like interacted with the witches, I never got a sense of like fear or being scared on her behalf. And I think that was because I was told she was scared, but I was never shown that she was scared. In fact, I feel like every interaction she had, it was just more like she was not in awe. She definitely had mild concern whenever the witches were around or she was interacting with them, but I feel like she was never truly terrified of them. Yeah, I just never got the sense of like urgency to get away from them or to try to like not be in their presence. Also, the ending was a letdown for me. I thought Ezra would play a bigger part in everything that took place because of who he was as the prophet's son, but he didn't really. And I think because I did not care about his relationship with Emmanuel, that I didn't really care about his role in the overall story, because I think I was supposed to care about Emmanuel caring about Ezra. And then they like had this really random love for each other, which it was never developed. It was, they met, he made her laugh. No, she made him laugh in the beginning. And then he was like, I fucks with you. and I will protect you no matter what. And not just Ezra and Emmanuel's relationship, but most of the relationships in here were just felt very underdeveloped and underwhelming. And the only one that I truly cared about was the relationship between Leah and Emmanuel, because you could tell that there was like a genuine friendship and a genuine love for each other. But everybody else did not care. So when Emmanuel was like making this sacrifice for the people of Bethel, I was just like, why? They were shitty people. You had no real connections with anybody in this town. Did I want more vengeance? Yes. But that's just me. Maybe I need to be a little more forgiving and merciful. Probably not. And I think, like I said, I think I just wanted more of the Darkwood, more of the witches, more of the tense, creepy, scary factors. And I did get, it was very intense, eerie moments, especially when Emmanuel was like interacting with the prophet. You could really feel the tension there. You could feel her dislike and her hate for him because of what he had been doing to people, especially like the women and the girls in the town. I definitely wanted more of the Darkwood, more of the witches, more of that tense, creepy feeling, and that feeling of uncertainty where you weren't sure what was going to happen when the witches were present. Didn't really get it. Also wanted more consequences, especially for the prophet, who, I know he's just a fictional character, but I hope he's rotting in hell. And I just feel like I didn't get all of that. Also, there was like this big theme of women being like the sources of evil and deceit and impurity. And we never really like came back to that. Like, it was a running theme throughout the whole book. And there was just like one moment at the end where the women end up standing up for Emmanuel. And that was all we were gonna like address of it. We weren't gonna talk about how the town had been doing all of these shameful things to women for years, decades. But like, we weren't gonna talk about it. We weren't going to talk about how like women can stand in their power and be these wonderful, amazing people without being looked at as witches and harbingers of evil. And it just didn't feel like enough. And I think that's what this ultimately boils down to for this book for me. It was almost there, but it just was not enough. Now, on to something that was enough, maybe too much, and that was the Poppy War. I got a little bit over 50% in this, and man, I feel like every update I had was just like shit's about to pop off. And you know why? Because shit never was chill, okay? One thing would happen and you would be like, okay, let's take a pause. No pauses. We're going to move on to the next shit popping off. That's what's going to happen. And I'm not mad at it. I am thoroughly enjoying this read. I love the military school setting. I love that Rin is now in this new troop with people she's in. She's learning about herself, trying to push her limits. She is being a little annoying because while I liked her determination and her cunningness in the beginning, now I just feel like she's being insubordinate, and I just want to be like, girl, you're not a captain or whatever. Like, listen to your commander. Just listen. You don't have the answers. That's why you are not a commander. You know what I mean? Like, girl, you don't have to backtalk everybody all the time. All the time. But besides that, I still like Rin. And what I'm learning about this book is that this book should really be called Everybody Dies. And the subtitle should just be called You Don't Know When, but It's Gonna Happen. Because I feel like everybody is dying. Like, I have gotten to a point where I just can't get attached to anybody anymore because they're just gonna be snatched from me. I just know it. And so I am itching to finish this up. I'm sure I'm going to finish this up in like the next day or two. And because I need to know who makes it to the end, where this goes. We're in a full out war. And, you know, we've got military strategies happening. Gods and shamans have shown up. People are exercising some serious power. And I am here for all of it. Minus everyone that I'm liking just dying. Everybody dies. If you don't like that person, don't worry, they're gonna die. You do like that person, well, here's your warning. They're gonna die. Everybody's gonna die. Actually, I don't know that everybody's gonna die. People really may make it out. I mean, people have to make it out. There's 2 more books after this, so yeah, I can tell I'm really gonna fly through this series, and I feel like I'm going to pick up the next one very soon after finishing this, and I'll let you know how I feel about it. Obviously, that's what this channel is for, to tell you how I feel about books. Do I do that regularly? That's not the point, but so that's where I am with everything. I'm surprised that I finished a whole book in a weekend. It sounds like nothing, right? But these days, I am just thankful to get through a book a week. You know what I mean? Like, life is busy. I'm working. I'm a dog mom. I have other responsibilities. I hope you all enjoyed spending some time with me as I incoherently rambled about things that I was reading and showing you absolutely nothing I did all weekend. I want you guys to let me know what you're reading, what you tried to get done over the weekend. Tell me any and everything. Let's talk about all of the things down in the comments below. And until next time, bye.